Well, to discuss the legacies of the Kudirat Abiola in the light of current political developments in Nigeria, we're now being joined by Hafsat Abiola Costello, daughter of the late democracy activist and founder of the Kudirat Initiative for Democracy. Very warm welcome, Hafsat.
Thank you so much for having me.
26 years has rolled by.
Yes.
And how would you say her drives then campaign for the freedom of, the father of democracy today now, your late dad, MKO Abiola, has impacted on the democratic culture of this present dispensation?
I think that we are seeing, especially now as we enter into this primaries and for the selection of the presidential candidate for APC, where I think we're seeing us come full circle. Because I remember during June 12, women actively participated in the voting, as women always do. But after the annulment, women were leaders, not just voting, not just participating at that level, but really organizing demonstrations, writing articles, defying the military, and locking down markets, occupying the streets. And then my mother, who was helping to finance a lot of the oil workers union strikes and all the other efforts of NADECO and all the other organizations, and joined by other women. And you could see that Nigerian women should be partners in building our country. We could see it at that moment during the June 12 struggle. But it seemed as if that notion went away after we were able to secure our democracy. Look, we have one of the lowest rates of women's representation in public office in Nigeria today. And when Nigeria's women were able to lobby and push for reforms to be adopted by the legislature, it was turned down just even a few months ago.
But the Federal High Court gave a judgment in favor of the Nigerian woman, 35% affirmation.
Yes. You see, I feel like we are coming to the point where women will play their role, which is that they must be partners with our men. And for example, for this presidential convention that is taking place in just a matter of hours, I'm the DG, Director General of one of the presidential candidates, Governor Yaya Bello, and we have a team that is full of women. The Director for Media is a woman. Many key offices are held by women in that campaign, and we have the opportunity for APC to choose a candidate that is fighting for women.
You know what, we'll come to Yaya Bello because of course there's some breaking news, but I want to stay with your mother because at the end of the day we are celebrating an icon. Some would want to call her the matter of democracy, looking at, Nigeria's democratic run so far. But 26 years is a long time.
Yes. And
there are some kids who were not born at the time she was really active. Can you remind us who this woman we are celebrating today is and why she's worth celebrating?
So my mom was, I'm just looking at that picture that you have there.
Sweet
quite
memories,
emotional. Quite
she
emotional.
Was a gem. She was a gem. She loved her husband. She loved her family. She went to high school and she was brilliant and she was head girl of her school. But unfortunately, she was never sent on to university because her parents didn't think at the time that girls should do that. So she got married quite early to my dad and proceeded. My dad, I think he was wowed by her beauty because she was very beautiful. And he said to her, when we marry, you can go on to university. I can do. As soon as she married him, she got pregnant. A month after she had the first baby, she got pregnant with me. And then a month after she had me, she got pregnant, or 3 months she got pregnant. She just got pregnant. She was pregnant for, she had 9 children over the space of maybe 15 years. So at the end of all of that, she now said to my dad that she wanted to now work. And my father said to he called all the children. He came to my bedroom to wake me up, to tell me that, Hafsat, can you believe, he called my family, they call me Ronke. Said, Ronke, can you believe that your mother wants to work. And he said it in the way as if he was saying that she wanted to carry cocaine and go to England. I mean, he was so devastated. And I said, but Daddy, my friends at school, their mothers also work. It's not a big deal. So my father then set down some conditions. She had to work not far from the house. He had to be able to see her when he's driving by on his way home, and all these things. And she found a place on Okpebi, not far from our home on Towing Street in Ikeja. When he was driving home, he would drive and he could see that her car was in the garage or not, and know how she was doing. And she abided. And she made a success of her venture as a dealer for pharmaceutical companies. Then he now went into politics, my dad. Because all this while that all this was happening and I was growing up, he was a businessman in Nigeria and a philanthropist. But then he decided that he would go into politics. And when he went into politics, he won. But I think he won at a time that the country, at least the military, was not ready to have him win. And they cancelled the elections. And after a year of negotiations, they put him in jail. And that was when the true power of my mother became evident.
Absolutely.
Because she rose up
to the occasion.
Yes.
And I was just going to ask, when Dad took that decision of
Yes.
going into politics,
Yes.
you know, and somebody who's guarded your mother very jealously, you know, what were your mom said? Did she object at all? Did you, the children, object? Did he consult with you?
No, you know, they're always, our family is so big, as you well know. My father had several wives, and I'm sure that different families within our
Homestead.
yes,
Yeah.
would take different decisions. But my mom's position with my dad was always to support her husband. You know, she was the kind of wife that what her husband wanted is what she would want, you know, and she would put everything behind him. You know, sometimes my father would have a fight with someone, and then my mom would stop talking to the person, only for my father to decide that, and you know, anyone that remembered MKO, after a while, he would just be back to being best friends with the person, and it would make my mom so embarrassed because she had been waging his battle along with him, and then he just forgot the battle. So,
you know, even that support eventually cost her life, unfortunately. So, would you say justice has been served with regards to your mother? Because I do know that at that time there was that connivance, allegedly, by her driver and, of course, a personal assistant. Would you say, really, justice for her death? Would you say the family got that?
you know, to be honest, I mean, after being raised by people who were larger than life, because that's how I see both parents, I don't really think about my justice just for my mother. I think of justice for the Nigerian woman. I think of the dynamism of the Nigerian woman, their intelligence, all that they have to give to our nation. And I think that justice will be served for Kudirat when Nigeria is a space that allows women to thrive in with all their potential.
Right.
And is the Kudirat Initiative, the foundation in a memory? How, you know, much regeneration is it doing to the Nigerian woman, making them politically, socioeconomically astute?
So for a very long time we were training, and we were fortunate with support to be able to train thousands of women across Nigeria, in universities across Nigeria. We brought, along with some other organizations in Nigeria, we brought the vagina monologues to be performed in Nigeria. We also wrote the Nigerian women's story of domestic violence and all of this, and even the men's stories, and we were having it performed. But in the last few years, I've focused Kind's work on economic empowerment of women. As you know, I'm also president of Women in Africa, so through those two channels, we're looking at the economic empowerment of women, because we think with economic power, women in Nigeria can also then get involved in political power with a very powerful voice.
Right. I like the fact that you've gone to that area, because that's how we're going to wrap this conversation.
Okay.
Yahya Bello, you are the Director General
Yes.
of his campaign. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen the statement signed by 11 northern governors. They're saying all northern aspirants should step down and let the southerners take over. How do you think this will impact? Yes.
Well, I want you to remember that at the time that my father ran, he ran against the northern candidates, and he won. I think that if we want the country to be united. We need to respect the Nigerian people and give them the opportunity to decide for themselves who should lead them. They have the intelligence to do that. When my father went to Kano, when he was competing against Bashir Tofa in Kano, which is where Bashir Tofa was from, even on Bashir Tofa's street, the people of Kano gave Abiola, my father, their mandate. So if people of Kano and the people of the North could show such a detribalized nature, why do we now assume that we need this kind of artificial
we've seen an 8
structure?
years, almost an 8 years of a northern precedent. One would think for
and we
fairness
can,
and justice,
and
it should go to the
fairness
south.
and justice is that we should have the competent leader that Nigerians trust to lead Nigeria. And if that is Governor Yahaya Bello, who is not from North Central, a part of the country that has never, since 1960, had a president, a vice president be from that part. It's the only part of the country that has not been so privileged. Then I think that that is fine. And if the Nigerian people on that day, when they go to the ballot in 2023, decide that they want a Western president or an Eastern president, so be it.
All right.
All right, thanks
Praise
so
to leave
very
the conversation.
much, Hafsat Abiola Costello. So nice having you on this show.
And of course, we celebrate your mother, not just today, but of course, what she's done for women like us. We really appreciate her. But of course, President Muhammadu Buhari is having a meeting with all the aspirants. We'll wait and see the outcome of that meeting. But for now,
it's going to be quite interesting.
Absolutely.